When the base is not sealed, everything you wish to create slips away before it can exist. In the next few minutes, you will learn to activate an internal seal that reverses this leakage, stabilizing your energy field in a measurable and immediate way. There is a gesture that the mystery schools guarded as a code of inner sovereignty, and today, you will discover exactly how to apply it to your own body. Your chronic exhaustion, the procrastination that never ends, and that anxiety that never yields are rooted in this silent leakage happening in the pelvic field, in a region no one taught you to recognize. Leaving this video now means continuing to lose vital force without realizing it, letting slip the only technique capable of transforming dispersion into presence. I will show you why this happens and how to reverse it. In the initiatory chambers of ancestral yoga, this loss of vital force had a name: the unsealed base. The guardians of bodily alchemy taught that there is a precise vibrational lock capable of reversing the downward flow and transforming it into ascending power. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to activate this internal seal and feel, in your own body, the difference between leaking energy and sustaining it. This point of containment was called Muladhara, the lower altar where the fire of life rests before rising. When this base remains open, a panavayu, the downward flow governing elimination and grounding, drains the vital force downward instead of feeding the central axis. The body loses its ability to retain power, and everything that should ascend disperses before it can even take form. Polyvagal theory reveals why this matters so much. When the pelvic field is loose, without intentional tone, the nervous system interprets it as a lack of structural support. The dorsal vagal nerve triggers a state of chronic vigilance, keeping the organism on constant alert. Without a signal of visceral support, the body never relaxes enough to create it, only survives, tense, compensating below with effort above. This dysregulation is not psychological, it is structural. A disconnected pelvic floor sends the brain the message that you are unstable, and the nervous system responds by locking the diaphragm, shortening the breath, and armoring the solar plexus. The vertebral column, which should function as an antenna conducting ascending energy, becomes a disconnected channel where nothing rises because everything escapes through the forgotten base. What you are about to learn now is the conscious rooting gesture, the practice that seals the base and reverses the leakage. Begin by sitting in a position where your ischial tuberosities, sitting bones, firmly touch the surface, whether it's a chair, cushion, or the floor. The spine needs to be aligned, erect, without rigidity, as if an invisible thread were pulling the top of your head upward while the base remains anchored. Close your eyes and direct your attention to the center of the pelvic floor, the exact point between the anus and the genitals. This is the core of Muladhara, the portal where the earth meets the vital fire within you. Don't force anything yet, just feel. Breathe slowly and recognize this region as the lower altar of your body, the place where everything begins. Now, locate this central point internally. Imagine a small energy button there in the center of the pelvic base. When you activate this point, it won't be an external muscular clench, it will be a subtle internal contraction, as if you were pulling this center inward and slightly upward toward the navel. It is a delicate, firm, intentional gesture. This contraction is not brutal, it is precise. You are not contracting your glutes, nor squeezing your thighs. The movement happens at the core of the pelvic floor, in the deep layers of the internal musculature. Think of pulling the central point inward, as if you were closing a subtle door that has always been open. You are sealing the lower portal, This activation awakens the vibrational code of Muladhara. What you are doing is not just physical, it is energetic, somatic, and neural all at once. You are signaling to the nervous system that the base now provides support, that the body has ground, that energy no longer needs to leak. This gesture rewrites the perception of internal safety. Keep this gentle contraction activated as you breathe. Don't release it yet. You are learning to maintain the seal while life happens, while the breath flows in and out. The base remains closed, contained, firm. This is the first step: locate, activate, and maintain. Now comes the three-wave breath. Inhale deeply through your nose, filling the body in 3 stages. First, the lower belly expands. Then, the ribs open laterally. Finally, the chest rises. Throughout the entire inhalation, the contraction of the base remains activated. The energy that was dispersed is now gathered, pulled back to the central axis. Visualize as you inhale, the vital force that was escaping through the base is being drawn back, like water being collected at its source. You are not just breathing, you are reorienting the flow of Apanavoyu, transforming dispersion into containment. Each inhalation brings back what was lost. Each wave of air rebuilds the magnetic field of the base. When the inhalation is complete, lower belly full, ribs open, chest expanded, hold your breath for 3 to 5 seconds. During this retention, keep the base sealed and visualize the energy rising up the spinal column like an ascending current. What descended now rises. What escaped now ascends. The vertical axis reconnects. Feel the spine as an activated channel. The energy that was trapped or leaking from the base now finds direction, purpose, and vertical movement. Your body is learning a new pattern. Containment below, upward flow in the center. During the retention, you are installing this code into the nervous system, into cellular memory, into the bioenergetic field. Exhale slowly through your nose, releasing the air in waves, but keeping the base sealed. Exhalation does not mean loss, it means anchoring. You exhale, and the energy remains contained, sustained, rooted. The body learns that it can release the air without releasing its vital force. This is the secret, to breathe without leaking. Repeat this cycle 7 times. Inhalation in 3 waves with the base sealed. Retention for 3 to 5 seconds, visualizing the upward flow. Exhalation while keeping the seal active. Each cycle reinforces the neural pattern. Neuroscience explains, intentional repetition reprograms autonomic circuits. Bruce Lipton demonstrates that repeated bodily states shape cellular expression. You are not just practicing, you are rewriting the body's operational code. With each cycle, the body understands a little more. The base that was loose gains tone. The pelvic floor that didn't support now holds. The dorsal vagal nerve, which kept the system in collapse, begins to yield space to the ventral vagal nerve, the pathway of safety, connection, and creation. 7 cycles are enough for the body to recognize. This is not theory, it is somatic reality. When you complete the 7th cycle, release the contraction of the base and remain in absolute silence for a few moments. Do not move, just feel. What happens now is the reverberation, the energetic integration of what was activated. You will notice that something has changed internally. It is not a concept. It is not an idea. It is a visceral ground. The breath descends deeper, effortlessly. The lower belly is no longer contracted by tension, but supported by conscious tone. The pelvis vibrates differently, as if it has awakened from a deep sleep. The spine feels more aligned, more alive, like a reactivated antenna. You are no longer floating, you have a foundation. This is not an exercise you do once and forget. This is a vibrational code you install and maintain. Whenever you feel dispersion, anxiety, or loss of focus, return to the gesture, seal the base, breathe in 3 waves, visualize the upward flow. The body will remember. The rooted frequency will return. What you have just experienced is energetic sovereignty. The base no longer leaks because you have taught the body how to contain. The field of creation no longer collapses because the root is sealed. You have transformed leakage into power, fear into firmness, dispersion into presence. The base, at last, remembers what it is for. Greta spent her days creating dishes that fed other bodies, while hers felt empty inside. At 54, working as a cook, she knew how to season. She knew when the fire was right. She knew the exact point of each recipe. But she couldn't hold on to anything that was hers. Not projects, not relationships, not her own energy that escaped without warning. Everything began with enthusiasm and ended in dissolution. A pastry course she abandoned after the 3rd class. A garden she planted and let die. Deep conversations that turned superficial because something inside her dispersed before the end. Greta felt as if there were an invisible hole through which her entire life was leaking, and no one could see it. She could barely name it herself. It was in a somatic practices workshop, recommended by a therapist friend, that she first heard about the pelvic floor as a field of energetic containment. The instructor spoke of Muladhara, of the root lock, of how the unsealed base drains vital force. Greta felt something vibrate in her body, visceral recognition. This was it. She began practicing the conscious rooting gesture every morning, before lighting the stove. Sitting on the edge of her bed, spine erect, activating the center of her pelvic floor, breathing in 3 waves, sealing the base. In the first few days, nothing seemed to change. But in the 2nd week, something concrete happened. Her breath descended. Her pelvis gained tone. Her body stopped floating. 3 months later, Greta had finished the pastry course. Her garden was flourishing, and her conversations with people had real presence. She wasn't cured, she was contained. The energy that once leaked now sustained. Projects moved forward because the vital force no longer dispersed before taking form. Greta discovered that stability is not achieved externally. Stability is sealed internally. This same seal that transformed Greta's life, you now crystallize in your own field. The physical marker is clear when the base is sealed. The breath descends to the lower belly effortlessly. The pelvis vibrates with a new tone, and you feel a subtle warmth at the base of your spine. The signal gesture is simple. Touch your sacrum with your hand. Inhale deeply in 3 waves. Gently contract the base for 3 seconds and release. Whenever you feel dispersion returning, use the return point. Sit with your spine erect. Place your hand on your sacrum. Breathe deeply and repeat internally, base sealed. Energy ascends. This code reactivates the somatic pattern you have installed. The base does not forget. The body does not lie. When it learns to contain, you no longer need to prove you exist. You simply remain. You have discovered something that most people spend their entire lives without naming. Instability is not born of the mind, but of a base that has forgotten how to contain. The body didn't need more mental effort, more psychological control. It needed to remember how to seal the lower portal, how to transform silent leakage into energetic sovereignty. Stability is not an external achievement. It is an internal sealing. When the base closes, everything changes. The breath descends effortlessly. The spine recognizes its axis. The solar plexus stops compensating for what the pelvis doesn't support. Chronic anxiety subsides because the nervous system receives, for the first time, a visceral signal of support. The body no longer floats, it inhabits. You no longer disperse, you direct. The vital force ceases to leak and begins to rise. B.K.S. Iyengar said, "The body is your temple. Keep it pure and clean for the soul to reside in." And the purity he spoke of was not moral, it was structural. Without a firm foundation, the temple collapses. Without a sealed root, no energy ascends. What he taught was somatic truth disguised as philosophy. You cannot elevate what you cannot first sustain below. What the ancestral traditions called divine presence is perhaps exactly this: the feeling of being whole, rooted, capable of sustaining one's own weight without collapsing. God does not dwell where the body leaks. He dwells where the body contains. The connection to the sacred does not happen in escaping from matter, but in its deep integration. When you seal the base, you do not move away from the divine. You become a vessel. The base does not lie. When it closes, you stop begging for security, chasing validation, trying to convince the world you deserve to exist. You simply exist, firm, contained, whole. And the body, at last, recognizes something the mind could never prove. You always had ground. You just needed to close the portal through which everything was escaping. And now that it is closed, nothing more slips away. Everything you create remains. If this video resonated with you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notifications so you don't miss any new videos. If you wish to directly support the mission of Transcend and help bring this wisdom to more people who need to discover the root lock, consider becoming a channel member. Your contribution keeps this current of ancestral knowledge alive. I want to know, do you feel the base sealed now? Write in the comments. I seal the root and stabilize my energy from the base. This affirmation anchors your presence on the path of conscious containment. Share this video with someone who needs to remember that leakage ends when the base learns to sustain. Click the screen now and dive into another transformative video from the channel. Every practice you integrate strengthens the field you are building. Remember, when the base closes, everything you create remains, because the energy no longer slips away before it can exist.